What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Some commentary for you tonight. Do me a favor, take a moment, hit the like button, subscribe button. Criticism in the comment section. You can run over to Twitter, give me a follow. My username is Shutdown Safety. Pleased to have one of the developers of Cal Anderson's game, Football History, on with me, Tom Allenbaugh. Now, Tom, I guess the first thing we need to start out with, the GDEX show this weekend, a lot of people expected gameplay from the game. Can you talk a little bit about what happened with that and maybe when we can expect in the future to see actual gameplay from the product?
Yeah, sure. So I'm actually a developer for a different studio called Multivarious Games, and we only relatively recently got a chance to jump in and help out with the project. So we're actually, I've personally been going through a process of going through the project and all of the assets in it, kind of categorizing everything that's in there, seeing what works, seeing what's outdated, kind of just doing all of the basic bookkeeping required to, figure out what exactly needs to be done to get it ahead. But yeah, I mean, the long and short of it is, I've just been relatively recently part of the team. So, but I've made a lot of progress in the last couple of weeks when I've finally been able to get the time to sit down with it. So I'm personally pretty excited by what we've been able to do as far as the back end is concerned, because before this week, a couple weeks ago, a lot of what was there was a lot of very small pieces that worked in isolation, but I went through the process of sort of knitting all these systems together and forming a persistent whole that can be, so that, for instance, having databases of players and teams, and having, making a consistent play system so that you can define plays without having to create new code objects, and linking them all together with a user interface workflow once you start the game. So, and yeah, that's pretty much the reason that we didn't quite. I was hoping we could get to gameplay by GDEX. Unfortunately, I got hit with some obligations at my own studio that I couldn't put aside. So, kind of sucked away some of the time I wanted to spend to get a gameplay demo ready. So, but we're still pressing ahead with it. I'm hoping within the next few weeks we should finally be able to knit all of the various pieces of the AI system that has been made previously together, and hit the start button and be able to start refining the behaviors of each of the individual player types.
So where are you now in terms of what was shown at the show this weekend? And if you could speak just a little bit about how it was received from the other companies and the people that were there.
Yeah, so unfortunately I can't speak that much about the reception of what we had, because I was at my company booth across the way, but I was kind of on Saturday kind of developing in real time to try to link a lot of these pieces together. So I wish I could speak for that. Unfortunately, I just was kind of too swamped with other things to be able to really be part of the football history booth itself. But I did provide Cal with a working executable late last night. That's to say, a successfully compiled and built executable that kind of takes all of the databases that have been constructed in the back end, spawns players of appropriate, player types onto the field, kind of puts the players off to the sideline. Then when you can go and select a play for whatever plays are defined in the database, and it'll grab from the two teams that have been spawned. It'll grab appropriate players, position them properly on the field, get them ready to play. So really, we're actually right on the cusp of having them really going through and testing out all the AI systems that have been created.
Could you maybe talk just briefly in layman's terms for those people who aren't well versed in game programming? where the
Yeah.
game is in its development cycle and what you think needs to be done to get it to the point where the public is able to see some type of demo or video of actual solid gameplay
Yeah.
from the product.
Yeah. So me and my team started doing some part-time consulting and work on the project, I think, let's say a month and a half ago. And then a few weeks ago, Cal kind of, came to us and was like, okay, I'd like you to take a much more active role in the project. So we were like, we're going to get our stuff together and then get started on that. The game, as far as the long-term development goals, there are a lot of really good quality assets and animations ready to go. There are a lot of AI modules for different player types, and most of my work has been in consolidating the back-end systems that define all of the, there's actually going to be a lot of data in this game as far as historical data for teams, historical data for players, and it was really important to build those systems out so that they could be utilized and not kind of a collection of hard-coded elements. I wanted to make it a little more data-driven, which is to say, have in the project files that any designer or person who wants to contribute can go in and or even like the player later in the game can go in and define new players, define new play positions, new play routes, set up plays as a whole, set up new teams. So really, I think that as far as what we have, we've got a fairly fleshed out back end that at this point really just needs to be connected to the AI systems that were worked on by past team members, knitted together properly and turned on. I would personally guess that I would say we should have a demo of players running their individual roles, the demo being able to sense and respond to game events like touchdowns, tackles, out of bounds, etc. Probably within the next few weeks, maybe a month. It's been a long road. Obviously, there's a lot of it's never a good thing when projects change hands, at least in the short term. But when you have a project that changes hands, you've got the overhead of the new team having to learn all the different parts of the project, use all the parts of the project as intended by the previous creators, and build on that foundation without being sloppy about it or quickly creating things that work in the short term but that are difficult or impossible to maintain in the future. Once the AI is activated, it'll be much easier. Most of the AI routines in the game were developed in scenes where specific situations were set up, like you have one or two positions from each team to test out a specific interaction. There hasn't been much done in the way of the sort of the full team coordination. That's what we're really starting to get into now. I'm still going through and purging some things that have gotten in the project that are kind of redundant because people have contributed. Lots of different people have come into the project and contributed things. So we're sort of cleaning all that up and consolidating it. And really, once the AI is moving, there's already game modules in place for a player to control any of the players on a team. So we're hoping to have a game that you can either sit down and take control of players and be able to initiate their animations and modify, like control them directly, or you can step back and simply select plays and hopefully watch a pretty interesting scene develop as the play resolves itself from both teams. Currently, all of the players have their stats as loaded data objects, so that once the AI gets cooking, we should be able to take advantage of that. So you should see the more skilled players be able to overcome their weaker counterparts, and I mean, it should be a good time. There are baby steps towards some of the later goals, such as custom play creation, custom team creation. Again, a lot of my work with the back end was defining a lot of this data in a way that can be customized later on. Again, it does little good to have a system that, you know, only works for a demo, or that, you know, we're just going to have to throw away later. So I've been doing my best to make sure that the foundation is something worthy of building upon, and that has led to a bit more of a delay than we were hoping for. So I don't know if that answers your question, then that would be cool.
All right. So in closing, I guess to surmise that it would have been possible to rush a product out to meet the deadline of the show and have something there, but that would have came at the detriment long term of the game and what ultimately is going to be played by the consumer. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if we had rushed to sort of, you know, smoke and mirror a demo, then, you know, later on we're either gonna have to dismantle that, work around it, or just otherwise start over. I didn't see the value in that personally, and I think Cal agreed with me, and so that's why we chose the path that we're on. I think Cal and I are both pretty happy with the way things are going now, and we're hoping to have lots more exciting updates coming soon.
All right, Tom, well, I really do appreciate your time, and I know the community obviously will have a fair amount of disappointment about where things are, but obviously
Yeah.
the
No, I'm
overwhelming
not.
the overwhelming response should be optimistic about, you know, where you guys are going.
Yeah, so, no, honestly, like at the beginning, I wasn't really sure exactly what I was getting into. You know, I'm kind of mostly concerned with a lot of the internals over at my studio. But when I saw the Trello and saw, you know, all the community engagement with the game, I'm pretty blown away. I think I'm honored to work on a project that a lot of people are excited about, and, you know, I'm happy to provide updates for everyone, and hopefully there will be more to come soon.